getting the confidence to actually put on a wig and wear it out in public. When people ask me about my wig journey, I often tell the story of how I had a crochet channel, and as I was editing videos, I noticed my hair was getting thinner and thinner, and there was nothing I could do to make it look good, and it really impacted my confidence. And then I saw a video where a woman was wearing a wig, and I thought that could be a solution for me. And I looked into wigs, and then I started wearing them, and I built a great community, and now I'm in the wig business. And it makes the wig journey sound so easy, but there's actually a part of that story that I don't usually tell, not because I don't want to, just because I hadn't considered it, but I think it's actually one of the biggest parts of the wig journey, and that is getting the confidence to actually put on a wig and wear it out in public. When I first thought about getting wigs, all I thought about was, wow, I could have great hair, I could have any style, that would be wonderful. Then I got my first wig home. This is after I had already put on a topper. Somehow the topper was much easier to go out in public because it was just a piece that actually blended with my own hair. I guess in my mind there was more stigma around a full wig. I was used to thinking of wigs like my grandmother wore. For whatever reason, and I don't know if this is true for you, but these are things to think about, wearing the full wig was the thing that took the most courage for me to go out in public. As I said, I'm thinking I can wear all these styles. It's going to be great. I get the first wig home and I'm in the bathroom and I put it on, and number one, your eyes and brain are not prepared for the difference, especially because I got this wig that was totally different from my regular hair. I had straight, fine, shorter hair, and I got this wavy, beautiful wig, but it was just a lot to look at in the mirror. And I was so excited to put it on because it was the hair that I always wanted. And I put it on and looked in the mirror and I thought, oh my gosh, I don't even want to go out of the bathroom and show my husband. Like, is he going to laugh? And it was in that moment that I realized there's so much more to this than, just putting on the wig, at least for me. My husband is very supportive, and I decided to go out and we both had a good laugh together because it was just so different from my regular hair. But what I want to talk to you today is about gaining the courage to go out in public and different strategies you can use. I will share my story with you, and that's not to say that how I handled it is the way you should handle it, but hopefully some of these ideas will help you. Okay, so the first thing I want to address is fearlessness versus courage. I am not a fearless person. I would say my husband probably is the most fearless person I know. It's actually pretty amazing to me. I'm a person filled with fears. So to me, fearlessness doesn't really require courage, because if you don't have a fear, then what's stopping you from acting? Courage to me is acting in the face of fear. And I find that when I do that, I gain confidence. When I face my fear and I act anyway, then I get this sense of, oh, first of all, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I had all these scenarios built up in my head that just were not true. And second, I overcame it. I did something, and that really gives you a lot of confidence. So I don't see having the fear as a bad thing. I think we just need to take a look at what are those fears and how do we handle it and how do we move past it. So for example, for me, huge fears were I was going to wear a wig out and the people who knew me were going to be laughing, maybe not even to my face, but behind my back, and like, oh my gosh, can you believe what she's doing? Or I'd be out and the wig would blow off, and there I'd be without a wig on, and how would I handle that? Or, maybe somebody would come up to me and say, is that a wig? I don't know, many people that would do that. There may be some, I don't know. Or even them just saying, oh, I like your hair, where do you get it done? And me freezing and not knowing what to say. So these were just some of my fears. And I decided early on that the way I was going to handle the fears was to be upfront about what I was doing. But the reason I chose that was because that automatically takes away the idea of people saying, oh, is that a wig? Isn't that a wig? But I'm telling you, it's a wig. So we're past that now. For me, I found that's what worked. And I like to handle things with humor. So I said to my friends and neighbors who were going to see me first in the wig, listen, if you see a bunch of women coming out of my house with all different hair, my husband's not having an affair. it's me. I'm going to be wearing wigs. You know, they got a chuckle, and then they started asking me questions about why I wanted to wear a wig. And another thing happened that I find to be true throughout my life, and that is when you are vulnerable and you share the things that you're afraid of with other people, that actually brings them closer to you. If you think about it, the people that you like the most, or at least this is true for me, the people that I like the most are the people that are real. The people who are pretending to have the perfect life, never showing any vulnerability, I don't find that I can get close to them. I know that we all have stuff, and maybe it's just my age or this point in life. I'm not interested in the superficial stuff. I really want to get to know people. And so I found when I said, hey, you know, my thin hair, I just hate it. I don't feel like I look good. I've lost my confidence. That draws people in, and they feel closer to you. And then they really became supportive. And it's funny, I say this often, but even people with great hair were like, oh, I want to try on wigs. It sounds like it would be fun. You know, so I totally changed the way I thought about wigs. And I think in turn, I changed the way people reacted to me wearing wigs. So I would say being vulnerable actually takes more courage than being fake. And in the end, the rewards are much greater. I think sharing with people what I was going through on my crochet channel and telling them that I was going to start wearing wigs brought my community closer to me. And so many people reached out and said, oh my gosh, I have the same issue. And that then gave me not only more confidence to share, but also a mission in all of this. So my mission became, you know, let me make this a more normal thing for people. If we wore wigs like we wear eyeshadow or earrings or anything else that is fake or not ours, how much easier would that be for everybody? And especially those people who are going through something really difficult, say a health issue or something like that, that need to wear wigs. Well, if we're all out there wearing wigs like they're no big deal, that makes it much easier for those people as well. So finding a mission in the whole thing also helped me gain some confidence. The mission may be different for each of us, but I think that taking something that is difficult for us and finding a solution and helping other people in some way is one of the best things we can do that will give us more confidence. Okay, so let's talk about what you can do to face these fears. I found the first thing that I do whenever I have a problem is to list my fears. So sit down and write a list of your biggest fears, and you know what those are because they play in your head. Mine were wearing the wig out in front of family and friends who were going to know that this was not my hair, having the wig slip off or tilt or blow off my head out in public, and having people ask me questions like, are you wearing a wig, or where do you get your hair done, or something where I would freeze and not know what to say. And the whole idea behind listing these fears is now we have them down on paper and we can start to work with them. The next thing I like to do is come up with solutions or ways to handle those fears so that I'm prepared should any of them happen. And that's not to say that things won't happen that you didn't plan on, but I find that when I'm prepared for all of these, I'm also prepared more for things that come up that I wasn't expecting. So, like I said, the part about wearing my wig in front of people who are going to know that it's not my hair, my solution was to just tell them. To tell them I'm going through something, to be vulnerable, to gain their support, and to let them know, yes, I'm wearing a wig, so that I don't feel like they're sitting there going, is that her hair? That I took away by just telling them. And I used a little bit of humor with it because I felt that was an easier way to break the ice for me. As far as things like the wig slipping off or tilting or, those things, I did my research and I learned about ways to secure the wig. And in the beginning, I went overboard. I used a wig grip and adhesive. That wig was not going anywhere. But over time, I learned I would go out in my backyard when it was windy with a wig and just test it out, or stand in front of a fan and see what happened if I was just wearing a wig grip. And I learned pretty quickly that my fears were way overblown. And that's another thing I find is that when we really take a look at these fears, we're so focused on ourselves that we don't realize other people are more focused on themselves. Yeah, they may notice that your hairstyle changed, but they can't quite put their finger on it, how it changed. But they're thinking about their hair or their life or whatever. And we're really just the star in our own show over here. And people aren't as focused on us as we think they are. And that was a good thing to realize too. As a matter of fact, when I went out to, you go out to try the food for the caterer who's going to do a wedding or an event for you. So for my daughter's wedding, I went out with her in-laws to try out the food one night, and I wore one wig. And then the next night, we had them over for dinner at my daughter's house. I wore a completely different wig. I'm talking like longer, wavier, and the first one was shorter and straighter. And the husband never even noticed. I thought I would address it and say to him, I know my hair's really different today, but I wear wigs, that kind of thing. And he was like, oh, I didn't even notice that you had different hair. And that made me realize, wow, people aren't paying as much attention to me as I think they are, which can be a great thing. So, when it comes to those technical issues, I think doing your research and trying different things out can really help you to understand how your wig's going to stay on and, whatever other things you're worried about. And then the last thing, people asking me questions, is that a wig? Well, because I decided to be open about wearing wigs, that was an easy one for me. Is that a wig? Yes, it is. And I guess the answer to that for me would be, what gave it away to you? Because I would want to know, what I could fix. Now, let me tell you, while that was a fear, that has never once happened to me. Like I said, a lot of these fears don't actually materialize. But I do have people asking me questions about my hair. And so it was good that I was prepared with an answer. And my answer is, oh, this is a wig. Because as part of this whole journey, I realized that there was more to it for me. I really found a mission in it, and I really wanted to make wigs a more normal, everyday thing. So now when people ask me about my hair, I'm excited to tell them it's a wig. As a matter of fact, I took my grandson to a fair just the other day, and he was playing in the playground, and there was a woman who is, I'm sure, never thinking about wigs. She's a young mother. She had a baby in the little pouch, and she had great hair. And she said to me, are you a hairdresser? And I said, no. And she said, oh, because I love how you have your hair styled. And I was wearing Holly by John Renaud, by the way. And I said, thank you. I said, it's actually a wig. And you could see on her face, that was not even in her realm of thought. That was, so outside what she was thinking. But the reason that I say it is because I do want to make it just a normal thing, like, oh, it's a wig. And now, should she come across somebody who maybe needs a wig at some point or is losing their hair, she can say, you know what, I saw this woman this one time. She was wearing a wig and it looked so great. I thought it was her hair. I asked her if she was a hairdresser. You just never know how what you do has a ripple effect. And I really believe in that. She found it interesting. We chatted a little bit, and I said to her, that's the biggest compliment you could have given me, so thank you. It was a really nice exchange. So I think figuring out how you want to handle situations ahead of time and being prepared will really help you. Okay, so once you have written your problems and come up with some solutions, it doesn't mean it's going to be easy to just walk out in a wig. But we're doing the prep work. Now, I would say start with small steps, baby steps, and let them build on each other, and you'll gain confidence. So I often tell people, when you first get a wig home, put it on, give your eyes and brain a chance to adjust, and just wear it around your house. Play with it like it's your own hair. What would I do with this? Would I pull it back? Wear it in front of your family, and don't be surprised if it's a shock to them at first. It's probably a shock to you at first also. And like I said, with my husband, we both had a good laugh at the first wig I put on, but then I wore it. We were having dinner together. I wore it. He started to get used to it. I started to get used to it. And it was interesting to see the change in him and the way he was looking at wigs, as well as the change in me. So wear it around your house at first. Maybe go out to your mailbox. Or maybe the mailbox is too much of a step. Maybe wear it somewhere where people don't know you. Whatever you think that next step is. And just build slowly on the steps at your own comfort level so that you'll gain more and more confidence as you go. I had a woman here recently. She was going to a wedding and she didn't like how her hair was thinning. She brought a friend here and she tried on some wigs and she was taking pictures and sending them back to her husband and her daughter. And they were, giving their comments. Oh, I like that one. Oh, I don't like that one. And it was nice to see that she had the support of her family and her friend. But she was still nervous about wearing it to the wedding. Then I said to her, let me know how it goes, send me pictures. And the funny thing about the wig she picked out, when she first put it on and sent a picture to her daughter was like, oh, I don't like that one. And both her friend and I said to her, you know what? Play with it. Let's take a different picture. She just didn't look confident in the picture, and I didn't think the wig looked its best on her in the picture. And she resent the picture, didn't say that it was the same wig, and her daughter liked it in that next picture. I think that was a lesson for her also, just in the fact that by changing it and playing with it, you can make it look more your own, and people will see it differently. So anyway, she wore it to the wedding and she sent me pictures. She looked great. And she just recently came back the other day, and the confidence on her face, she was dressed up, wearing her wig. It just warmed my heart. And that, I thought, wow, this is one of the reasons I do this, to see the changes in people when they put it on and wear it with confidence. It's amazing. And I see it all the time in my Facebook group when people wear it out for the first time. And most of them say, people said, oh, your hair looked great. Very rarely do I hear that people were like, are you wearing a wig? Or, our biggest fears, they just didn't materialize. So I think the more you build on small successes, the more you'll see that your biggest fears really don't even come to pass. But even if they do, you'll be prepared for them. Okay, so after listing your fears, finding solutions, taking baby steps, and building on those, the last thing that really helps me, and again, this is a personal thing, so you have to find what works for you, but the thing that really helps me is to view the problem in a different context or perspective. I try to take a look at it as something much bigger than just myself, and see if there's a way that maybe I can help other people going through the same thing. Probably a lot of you don't know this about me, but I did go through serious depression and anxiety when I was younger. And once I was able to figure out how to deal with that better, I decided to go back to school and become a counselor, and I worked in that field for a little bit. And that just seems to be a way that I like to handle problems, is to first figure it out for myself and then hopefully be able to help other people going through the same thing. And I think that really helps me gain confidence and feel like I'm doing something bigger than myself. So I would say if you can find a mission, whatever that mission is, in solving your problem, that can be a really great thing too. So in wrapping up, I just want to say, if you've seen my channel and you see me showing all different wigs and you think, wow, she just has no problem wearing a wig out, she doesn't care what people think, I want you to know that it was not always that way. I definitely had fears in the beginning and I had to work through them and figure it out. But in the end, it was so worth it. The freedom I have, the confidence I've gained, not from just, feeling like I look better and not having the thinning hair showing, but also from overcoming a situation that was very difficult for me. So if you have figured out ways to wear your wigs out with confidence, I'd love to hear in the comments below. Share with us your stories, and also come over to the private Facebook group and share over there. That group is so wonderful for gaining support. Yes, wig information too. We have wig experts and all of that, but you'll gain support on your journey. These women are helping each other out and sharing their problems and the solutions they've come up with to deal with them. And it's a lot of fun over there. So I hope you'll join us. I hope you found this helpful. And I look forward to hearing from all of you, and I will talk to you soon.